Hi, my name's Cheri. Welcome to my Stampin' Up studio. I have been on vacation, and while I was on vacation, in my mind, I was making lots of cards. And when it came home, there weren't very many of them. I remembered what I wanted them to look like, but this is one. And it also happens to coincide with the mini catalog, and this catalog ends at the end of June. But June 1st, there will be a ton of specials, a lot of good deals, especially on dies and papers. Excuse me. So over the next couple of days, if you're on my email list, you'll get the list. So you'll be all prepared to shop. And then on June 1st and 2nd, I will have some additional specials that go along with the mini catalog sale. So one of the items I'm going to use today, I know that part of it's on sale. I'm going to use one of the stamps from the kit. And it is the You Are Amazing kit. And I'm fairly certain that this is half off. 20%. I think it's half off. If you're on my email list, then you'll get it, find out for sure. So there's this fun kit, and I do have a video of it from a long time ago when this catalog, maybe December, came out. But I'm going to use this stamp set today. The stamp set will be discontinuing, but it won't be on sale. And I will do a walkthrough, a quick walkthrough of my favorite things that are retiring from this. So be watching for that video. And I'll try to get that up before June 1st to help you in your shopping. But with the card today, well, here's the You Are Amazing. So I'm going to use this Hip Hip Hooray. Sometimes we have lots of stamp sets that say celebrate real big, and that's really what I was looking for. But this worked, so I'm going to use this Hip Hip Hooray. This is a super fun stamp, and you'll use it all the time. The graphics and fonts in this are just really fun. I know two of them are the same. So I might try to sneak that in on another card before we go. And then before I did this, I started with my paper pumpkin alternative videos. So if you got the baseball paper pumpkin, I did these two alternatives, and this video has posted. So these two, and then this one, I used the baseball bat kind of design. That's the card. And on it, I used the dies that we're going to use today. If you're in my Try It class, you're going to get the smaller star, which you'll see today in your Try It packet. So I have cut dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of these stars out to go in your Try It packets. So as I was doing it, I was like, I want to use this on a summer card. And I'm fairly certain that I'm going to add a Tidings and Trimmings Christmas in July class. So be watching for it. I'm going to put the registration up in early June because I want you to have this stuff by July, so it'll go up quick. You'll just have a couple of days to register, and then it'll come down. That way you'll get the stuff, and you can make some 4th of July cards if you want. We will do 4 projects in that class. 2 will be Christmas, and 2 will be summer. So 1 will definitely be 4th of July. 1 might just be more kind of what we're doing today, a celebration kind of card, because I wanted you to see just how versatile the dies are in that set. Even though it's a Christmas one, don't think you can't have it now. But I know a lot of you like to do Christmas in July. And our July catalog doesn't start until August because of COVID. In fact, I have some announcements about that if you're on my email too, so you'll want to be watching. But my basis for this card, I wanted to use the gold. I wanted to use this gold, but I don't have any because I've cut all I have into stars for my Try It class. So I went with the ombre specialty paper, and this is the navy, and you can see I've just cut the 2 pieces out. When I'm doing a design like this, I like to hand cut around it so you're not wasting a bunch of paper, and you'll see how you can use those tiny little scraps. And then I have Night of Navy. This is a hodgepodge of hodgepodge cards because we have 2 different stamp sets, and then we have this paper, which is from the succulent, I think it's called Bloom something, but it's the succulent paper. But I wanted something that looked kind of farmhousey, kind of ready for summer. And then I told you I don't have any of the gold paper because I've cut it all in stars for my class. So here is some scrap that I have from when I did an artistically inked cutout. So sometimes I use these. That's why I like to have all these little pokies here, because I can trim those out and they work on all of our smaller dies. So the card's pretty super quick. You're going to see a couple of other things come into it. None of this is like one suite. It's work with what you got. So let's fold this navy in half. And then I'm going to take Let's do our stamping. So I'm going to stamp in Whisper White. I'm going to stamp this first to give it a second to dry. We do have a new one of these, but I had stamped, I'll show you in a second, I had stamped red and that, and I didn't. This is how I use our new pads, and when I use an old pad now, I still flip it upside down. I don't use them very often. So this is our Whisper White ink and Cheri Cobbler cardstock. It does take the white as a pigment, obviously, so you can get a dark enough impression. It does take a few minutes for it to dry, so we'll set that aside. That's when I wanted to do that first. But the pattern on this star, I also can't close the old sets anymore, apparently. The pattern is just leaves. So obviously, if you're doing Christmas, you can color those in green and add some red. There's some tiny little red dyes that come in, so you can add some berries. But you could color this in the colors of this and have it just be a summer kind of star. So you can see all the potential that we'll have for that when we do our class. Now, I wasn't real sure when I did this card what color I wanted it to be. So I started out, this is shimmer white. I'm just going to show you a little bit of my thought process. And the card was actually stuck together like this, and I peeled it apart. Because in the end, I didn't like it. I didn't like the Cheri Cobbler when I had colored it with the Stella on its own. It's very pretty, but it turned a little pinkish, and I didn't want a red, pink, and blue card. I wanted it to be red, white, and blue. So then this paper is, I think it is cinnamon cider. That's what it most looked like to me. So then I stamped the cherry on top of the cinnamon cider, and I don't not like that. But then that was when I decided, oh, what happens? Because I really wanted the cherry to be a focal point. And that was when I went with the cherry paper. So don't be afraid to kind of just change up what you're doing. Because it doesn't, just because you stamped it doesn't mean you have to use it. You can move it aside and use it on something else. Now for this one, I'm going to stamp in Night of Navy. And this stamp says, hip, hip, hooray, 3 cheers for you. Well, I want it to just be kind of a Memorial Day, 4th of July card. So I took a Post-it note. Has some ribbon fuzzies. And I'm going to cover up all the words that I don't want to use. So I just want hip, hip, hooray. And then I'm going to stamp those. So now I've just inked that part, and when you pull that off, that's all that there is. Now you want to make sure that goes straight into the trash, especially when you're using a color like Night of Navy, because it will easily get on you. So I'm going to hope that that was good placement. You could pull your Stamparatus out, but that's pretty good. So now we just have a hip, hip, hooray. Like I said, I wanted something that said celebrate, but I have a lot to do today, so I was looking very fast, and I couldn't find one. So now we're going to cut the dies out. And these dies, both the small and the large, they have inserts into them. So I'm going to use the one on this one that looks kind of like rope. The other one, the smaller one, is a bit more intricate and ornate, kind of more Christmassy. Not necessarily Christmassy, but a little bit fancy for a farmhouse card. Let's cut one of these out. So we'll do these 2 first. And I will tell you from class, if you're doing the new gold paper or this paper, you can cut 2 of them out at a time. And the girls in my Try It class will know that the second one, it tends to keep the pieces in. So if you want your pieces to stay in your star, it's cut 2 and they'll stay in much better because it doesn't push them as hard. So then it just kind of gives an impression. And at some point I will do that so you can see it. I don't plan on doing very many Christmas cards right now except for the one in the class. So those 2. But when you have tiny little dies, and we have some tiny dies now, you can make them work. So let this go through. And the possibilities with this card are endless. We have so many fun blues, so many fun reds. We have where you could make it sparkly and not farmhousey, or you could even go more country than I did. See, there's still a bunch of space around that, so this was plenty. So we have that die. We have our 2 red hearts. And then we just need to put this together. So I'm going to use our Essentials Twine Pack, which again, colors that I'm using are down my husband and I cut for my try it class because it's huge and it takes our whole downstairs to do it. So some of my stuff is downstairs and I didn't want to go back and get it. I had to go get the star because I cut as much gold glimmer as I had, and then I have another order coming today to finish it off. So some stuff's upstairs, some stuff's downstairs. And I'm freshly back from vacation, so it makes it hard sometimes to know where anything is located. So this is, I doubled it over and I'm just gonna tie a bow. I don't want it to be big. I just want it to have a highlight of that rope effect, kind of for my farmhouse. But I doubled it over because I wanted it to be a little bit bigger than what it would be with just one single piece of twine. And just add a tiny bit of adhesive there. And then flip this over. And look, there's the completely different design. I've also cut a lot of these patterns out for the Try It class. So if you're in the Try It class, you're going to be getting some vases and some succulents on that card. So put those over. So we have this fun. I don't care if it's straight or not because it's supposed to look country and farmhouse and summertime relaxed. We used to have, sometimes we'd have more 4th of July kind of Americana sets, but since we've gone international, we don't have as many of those. So that's why I've pieced together all of these, but it's so easy to do to make it work with what you have. So you want to make sure you get adhesive right there that holds those in place. Now this one, I don't want all of these to pop out, but most of them are going to. I want it to have the rope effect. But if they don't all pop out, I'm okay with it. More of them popped out on my other one that I would have liked a few more of them to stay, but you got to work with how it falls out. And you also want to make sure that you then don't use see, most of them come out. That's what happens when your dies are super good. So I'm going to kind of bend it. And any of those that stay, I'm going to leave it because I like that. Again, it's kind of that rustic look. So I'm going to take my adhesive and it's going to pull some of them out more than likely. But that's where I'm going to use my adhesive. So not only is it a pretty effect, it also helps to have some place to hold it. So stick this on here and take your tiny little gold star. Put it there in the middle. And I'm just going to add these. You could pop them up if you want. Again, I'm not going for super fancy on this card. My daughter's birthday, well, she was born in Australia. If she'd been born in America, she would have been born on the 4th of July. In Australia, had just turned the 5th. So her birthday's the 5th of July, but we do celebrate it here on the 4th of July. When she was young, she would have not been happy if I gave her a Americana-themed card because she wanted a princess or a Disney character. But now I do tend to give her red, white, and blue cards because they're cute, and then she can use them in decorating. How cute would this be? You could cut the back off and put this on a frame and just have it as a little Americana decoration for the summer. These are our opal rounds, and these are from the Seashell Suite, which pieces of that will be retiring. And I'm fairly certain that the paper's retiring. So if you have that seashell stuff and you need to stock up on paper, you'll want to make sure you get that next week before it sells out. Done. Isn't it cute? Super easy from a Christmas and another set and some succulent paper and some seashell embellishments. So just use what you have. Excuse me, I spent too much time outside recently. My allergies are acting up. But use what you have and make it work for what you need. So it doesn't all have to be, because you bought it together, doesn't mean you have to use it together. And you don't have to not make something because you don't have a 4th of July set. Just make it work with what you have. If you're interested in the upcoming Christmas in July class that will feature the tidings and trimming set, then make sure you're on my email list so you can get information on that. Everybody have a great day, and I will catch you back here later this week. Bye.